Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's a wrestling classic here, back with Daniel from the Dropkick podcast for the Ruckus Avenue Radio. We are on Ruckus Avenue Radio for the TWC Show, live on Ruckus Avenue Radio. Wow, stumbled my words. Foul, but we are here. If you guys haven't already, be sure to go out of your way. Check out my most recent casual conversation with AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. It is live wherever you listen to the TWC Show and on my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys, are subscribed to the TWC Show. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Please. It takes a matter of minutes, like 2-3 minutes. A great interview or great podcast or whatever you want to say on Apple Podcasts. Check out the Dropkick podcast. Interviews with Barbie Blank have dropped. Diamond Dallas Page, Brian Pillman Jr., TJ Wilson, Bret Hart, and tomorrow Amber Nova. Off of WrestleMania weekend, all that stuff's going down. We got a lot to talk about, so we're gonna jump right into things. First things first, I just saw that video yesterday of Joe Black getting headbutted by the fan that he interacted with at an indie show. Independent wrestler Joe Black. I'm not really aware of who he is, but the video went viral. I'm gonna post it on the Wrestling Classic to get you guys' opinion. But man, interesting altercation. I know it's a way to get heel heat, to flip somebody's hat off. We've seen MJF do it to people. We've seen Mariah May do it to people. I think like Jade Cargill or somebody has done it to someone. It's to get heat, but you got to pick your spots and see who you're doing it to and see who's trying to like have fun with you and be part of the show, and not do it to someone that's like 300 pounds, just a big boy that's probably gonna strike back, because that's what Joe Black did, and this man struck back and hit him with the headbutt. Daniel, if you haven't seen the video, I'm gonna post it right after we're done this show. Watch it and then tell me what you think, because I don't think you've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah, he gets up and they just go at it, you know.
Well, the guy headbutted him.
I know, it's funny.
Joe Black pushed back, then he goes at him, and I'm like, I just saw it. Yes, it happened last weekend, but I just saw it. It was ridiculous.
It's an old video for sure, but like I think you really got to pick your spots when it comes to fan interactions. So, like, there's one thing to like get in front of a kid's face, and there's another thing to get in front of someone.
Like no offense, but if you get into the face of like a scrawny, skinny guy that you know you're bigger than, or someone that like you know is heckling you and is expecting to get a response from you. I don't know if this guy said some sort of racial slurs, if he was heckling him at all. It almost seemed like he just chose this guy and decided to flick his hat. He might have said something. I don't know.
He said something.
Even if he did, if you looked at the guy, like, he was huge. And not that Joe Black's not a big jacked up dude. He really is. Like, I wouldn't mess with Joe Black either. But like, this is like a big bodied, big boned, like just big dude. That was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta pick your battles.
Yeah. Another thing that I just posted was the from GCW Maniac, the flaming super kick from Joey Janela.
Honestly, man, like, I'm gonna be straight up. I am not a fan of these kind of things. Like, I get the appeal, but like, it's just not for me.
You're on the Mud Show. What is it? What did that say?
A Mud Show something. I don't know. I don't watch that kind of crap either. I'm kidding. But I think that like I get the appeal of it, like from someone who's like maybe 15, 17 years old.
Oh, Mud Show, that's what it's called.
Yeah, but I get the appeal, you know. But I mean, you can be biased and be like, oh, but you like Jeff Hardy, you like things, you like him falling off ladders. Yes, I don't know.
I think
it's different for me. I don't know. It's a hit or miss.
Wrestling. I always say that wrestling is the greatest form of art and athleticism, because obviously there's a lot of athleticism involved. But the art part, let's talk about the art part for a second. Art, whether it's movies, television shows, actual physical art, paintings, etc., but I like to compare it mostly to music. There's different genres. And there's different kinds of music. There's hip hop, there's classical, there's jazz, there's classic rock, there's heavy metal, there's new metal, there's all these sorts of music. And I feel like we're in a place in professional wrestling where there's several genres of professional wrestling. There's traditional old school wrestling, there's spot fests, there's death matches, there's hardcore wrestling, there's Japanese style wrestling. And I feel like we're in the same place in that term. I don't know why I'm getting all these notifications that I never get in my life otherwise, but they're coming today and playing sounds, which is weird as hell. But I do believe there's different genres of professional wrestling. And just like how weird, oddly enough, for the music, I can almost listen to everything. But when it comes to terms of wrestling, there are certain genres that just aren't my favorite. I saw more clips in that match, like the Spanish fly onto the thumbtacks, and the man did like a swanton or something onto Joey Janela after the flaming super kick through a table, and it's just like all of that in one match for me makes it seem like it just makes it less real to me because it's like how wrestling there was a psychology behind wrestling back in the day, but there is different genres of wrestling. I'm sure people that were like classical musicians were like there was a psychology to music and the notes and how it sounds, and then hip hop came through and they started sampling that and using computers and stuff to digitally change the sound of the music, and people were probably like, wow, they're rooting it. Like it's almost the same thing, but it's not fully for me all the time too, but I do get a pop seeing stuff like that sometimes. I'm like, this is absolutely positively insane. Like, why would anybody do this? Does it hurt the business? Maybe. Is it kind of dumb? Yeah. Why didn't they have fire extinguishers? Wouldn't you be prepared if you knew that was going to be a spot?
Yeah, that part a little confused me because it's like if you know you're gonna do something crazy, you should be ready for the consequences. And like, I'm glad he's good. I'm glad he's all right. Obviously health and safety does come first, regardless of what you say. Oh, like you're a pussy for saying that. No, I'm just saying like, you do not want to go into a match knowing that you might die at the end of it. I'm just saying that from a safety purpose. I'm like, you want to be there for your friends, your family, and yeah, it's all my point is.
Yeah, listen, anyone that was there probably thought it was insane. I think that live would have been epic. I mean, I can't say when I was a kid I didn't pop for Edge spearing Mick Foley through a flaming table, or the Dudleys putting Spike through a flaming table. Like as a child, I thought I would find those clips on YouTube or watch them back to back on my VHS tape when I recorded WrestleMania 22 because it was epic. And I think there's children out there that will see this and think it's fucking dope. But I think whereas a lot of older fans now that are more knowledgeable on the business, the smart mark, we kind of look at it and it's like, yeah, I understand why this is unnecessary and ridiculous. And I think the way that it was handled after the fact, I mean, like, what was it, a year ago that we saw Randy Orton put The Fiend on fire? Like, this still happens even in the biggest company in the world. But at the same time, it's just, it almost seems unnecessary in front of a smaller crowd like that. For, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000 you're probably getting paid. And I know that to some people that's a lot of money, but it's like, you're gonna risk burning your foot off, a serious injury for that couple of seconds of a pop. It almost takes me back to that movie The Wrestler, like where we see like, guys will do anything for that pop. Like that's the adrenaline they're looking for, that moment of like inciting the fans into a fury of like, oh my god, what did we just see? And they live for that. It could be dangerous sometimes. It really could. It's like Ric Flair wrestling again at 73 years old for his
I
final
do not
match
agree with
at Starrcast.
I feel like it really. I've said it to you, and I'll come on and sit here. I feel like it kind of hurts his legacy in a way because after that Shawn Michaels match, like he came out of retirement, and that was the perfect fairy tale ending to one of the greatest careers of all time. And
he's never wrestled again in the WWE. At least they can say that.
Yeah,
he wrestled in Australia against Hogan. He's wrestled in TNA, and he's wrestling now at Starrcast.
I think it's one of those things for sure. Like this Ric Flair news is that when someone says they're retiring from wrestling, unless you're like Batista or I'm trying to think who else really stuck to the retirement. Batista comes to my mind only, but unless you're Batista,
I was gonna say Austin, but Austin came out at WrestleMania.
He came back. Shawn Michaels came back. Bret Hart came back. There's so many.
Shawn was. We don't remember the Shawn one at all. I don't recall.
Sure, but he came back. My point is he came back. And what I'm saying is
Foley always came back. Funk always came back. Who actually? Austin was always my barrier of like the guy that actually retired and left. I guess one guy you can really say never really came back after retirement was
Batista,
the Macho Man.
Or yeah, I mean yeah,
when he
going
stepped
back to our
away,
times.
when he stepped away in 2004 after that TNA appearance, teaming with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, which sounds so wild to say.
So
He
crazy.
he never came back, and I think Dusty said it best in an interview or something one time when he's like, out of all the guys from my era,
So
Hogan,
JBL,
Warrior,
yeah.
Out of all the guys from my era, Hogan, Warrior, etc., like Savage was the one that actually walked away and did nothing with wrestling. Not a producer, not a writer, not nothing. He just walked away.
I think that I think Batista really comes to mind. JBL, another one. I haven't seen JBL wrestle since 2009 after that WrestleMania. I mean, Rumbles don't count. I mean, if you do count that, I don't know.
I do think they count, but I get what you're
Sure,
saying.
then I mean Batista. Then it is Batista, Macho Man, AJ Lee. Weird list, but yeah, I don't know. I think it hurts his legacy because I'm not saying I don't want to see Ric Flair wrestle, but it's just he's so old now, and it's just kind of scary because you want to be there for your family, your friends, like I said. And
he said he talked to 40 different doctors before making this decision.
Bro, what doctors are letting him wrestle though?
I mean, I don't think he's gonna do a lot. I don't think he's like a bunch of bumps. Also, word on the street, everything is just rumors and innuendo at this point. But word on the street, it's gonna be a tag match. We saw him do some stuff with Jay Lethal. I mean, he can hit the ring, do that stuff, and tag out and go on with his life. Like, you can work around having a wrestling match without doing too much harm to yourself. Let's just hope that's the case.
I mean, Randy's been doing that, but Randy's different age, all that.
Randy, who? Ordered?
Yeah, duh. What other Randy is it?
He's like 40.
What other Randy is it?
You're comparing Randy Orton to Ric Flair. Randy Orton's like 41 years old. Ric Flair's like 73.
No. I'm just saying. My point is Randy
lost his mind.
No. I should be wrestling till I'm 70. Damn it.
Subway Mania made their in-ring debut, yo. Shout out to Tim Han Rivera.
No, he's killing it, man. Him and his boy.
They fought they were X-Pac and Kane characters. They fought the Bad Leaves. I got the clip. I'll probably post it tomorrow. But shout out to Subway Mania, man. Shout out to Tim and them. Tim, former guest host of the TWC show. For those of you wondering, go check out Subway Mania. But yeah, Cody Rhodes did a countdown to Cody Rhodes this week. They think Cody? They must really think very highly of Cody Rhodes if they had a countdown for his segment this week.
I don't know.
They made people wait, and throughout the show, when other things were happening, they were showing a countdown to Cody.
I like Cody
Rhodes.
I like Cody, but some people just make it hard for me to like him. We shall.
I just think that's crazy.
Nameless, but I know Cody's the man. Yeah, Cody Rhodes. Yeah, Cody Rhodes doing Cody Rhodes things on a Cody Rhodes show, and it might be Cody Rhodes' year.
This guy went from being undesirable to undeniable in the WWE.
Sound like Michael Cole, James.
No, that's what Cody used to say about all the people that got signed to AEW. They were undesirable, now they're undeniable. He went back to the WWE before he was undesirable, and now
he got released 6 years on this date.
That's crazy.
6 years ago, he got released from the WWE. 6 years later, he's back.
Now he's there, and they have a countdown for him to do something on the show because he's that much of a draw. And he was getting booed out of AEW when he was leaving. I think people need to not forget the fact that he was getting booed out of that company before leaving. He was trying to get them to cheer him so badly and stay a babyface. Like, no, like me. I did all these things. I did what CM Punk said he'd do, but he never did. I'm going to do it. And they still booed this man. He's going to put himself through a flaming table and almost set himself on fire. Let's not forget that. This man was taking crazy-ass ladder bumps against Sammy Guevara, and they still booed this man. This man's like, I'm going to make this TNT title prestigious. I'm never going anywhere, and they booed him. And then he showed up at WrestleMania, and he's like the biggest fan favorite.
I love Cody Rhodes,
people forget that. I think people forget.
I never hated Cody Rhodes in my life.
I'm a Cody Rhodes fan, but I just want people to remember this man got booed out of the last company.
I never agree with this.
Not his fault, though. The whole Codyverse thing in AEW and how he want to do something. It's not his fault. I'm just saying, it's just so night and day
in the AEW galaxy
of the two different companies of the AEW galaxy compared to the WWE universe. It's wild stuff going on here. Speaking about wild stuff going on here, the Bloodline holds all the titles. At least not the Intercontinental and US, and obviously the women's titles because they don't have a woman in the group. Unlike Judgment Day that has Rhea Ripley, and Edge is just teasing everybody under the sun, from Paige to Corey Graves to Ciampa to even Liv Morgan herself. But that aside, the Bloodline has all the belts, both tag titles, and I didn't think they were going to end up unifying the tag titles when they changed the match at Backlash, but here we are. They hold all the belts. Like, is this the end of the brand split? Where do we go from here?
Nah, Paul Heyman's got to win the US
it
and
seems
IC
like RK
titles.
Bro's gonna feud Roman one by one, but where do we go from here?
Paul Heyman wins as a US and IC title, therefore Bloodline holds all the belts, and then yeah, man, we got Heyman in the penitentiary, we got Usos, we got Roman freaking Reigns.
The best was like Heyman when he was on commentary for the Usos. Like, when I'm with the Usos, I'm the warden. I'm like, that's hilarious. But you could call up Solo, man. Call up Solo Sikoa from NXT, the Usos brother. Have him win those belts. I don't know, but like, it's okay. Like, listen, it's cool, right? It's cool visual. It's cool to see it, but this can't last long. We can't have Roman hogging both titles. Someone needs to hold that other belt. We can't have the Usos hogging both tag titles. I said on Twitter, I'm probably going to post something about it again today, but I think as every year passes, the Usos are putting themselves more and more in that conversation of greatest tag teams of the modern era. Yeah, personally, it's not that long of a list. It's FTR, it's the Young Bucks, it's the Usos, it's the New Day, it's the Briscoes, and it's Red Dragon. I don't know who else. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but all those teams are in the conversation of like best tag teams of the modern era. And the Usos, like, they are. I can't deny how good they are. And as much as I wasn't looking forward to SmackDown this week, because like WWE programming, and to be honest with you, wrestling across the board has just kind of been pretty meh right now. I knew that main event was going to be a banger, and it was.
Yeah, no, I think personally, like, honestly, bro, I ain't feeling RK, bro. I never did. I don't know. It just never hit for me. I think that, like, at some point, Randy needs to just break on his own, do his own thing. And it's rumored that we might get Randy versus Roman at SummerSlam. So, and then I think Riddle's going to face Roman at Money in the Bank. And then Drew at the UK pay-per-view. And then, I don't know. And then,
yeah.
I think it was actually reported last night where The Rock's schedule is cleared up for the first half of next year. So that means he would be available for WrestleMania. So if that's really penciled in, if that's really going to happen, then I think Roman needs to drop both belts before WrestleMania next year. So, and I think Drew McIntyre can take one of the belts away, and Cody could take one of the belts away, honestly, but we don't know. We may never know. Yeah.
We may never know. We may never know. CJ Perry made $20,000.
That's crazy.
It's not an OnlyFans. It's like a brand army, which is similar to OnlyFans. It's just exclusive content, no nudity, just exclusive photos and stuff. And she is selling it for, I think, $20 a subscription, right? That's wild. $20 a subscription. Oh, I'm back on the Wrestling Classic. I'm blocked on there. Give me a second. $20 a subscription.
What? You're blocked by
her? And she has 2.4 thousand subscribers and $20 a subscription. So 2,400 times 20. She's made $48,000 a month.
That's crazy, bro.
Off of selling exclusive pictures of herself in sexy, somewhat revealing lingerie and stuff. Huh? Look, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That's crazy how wrestling fans are.
Fuck, to
down bad. But go out, go get some. Go get some.
Go get some.
Go get some. That's all I gotta say.
But let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room, the thing that everybody's been waiting for us to talk about. We're gonna end this show and wrap it up with our Double or Nothing predictions. But obviously, it's been a very interesting week because we found out Monday on Raw. Originally scheduled was Sasha Banks, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Doudrop, and Nikki Ash in a 6-pack challenge to crown the new #1 contender for the women's championship against Bianca Belair and Raw. And, you know, it kind of seemed thrown together. Like, why are these other women involved? But it was a way to get everybody included. And, you know, I think we all kind of figured it was going to end up being something with Bianca and Becky and Asuka at the end of the day anyways. But they added Sasha guys in there. And, you know, we get like a weird promo from Becky backstage with Adam Pearce saying something like, you know, I saw Sasha and Naomi leave the building. Like, they're not here. So what are we going to do? And it was like a scripted, seemingly scripted promo, but Sasha Banks and Naomi actually walked out of the building. Then you started breaking on the internet. The match got changed to a singles match between Asuka and Becky Lynch. Doudrop and Nikki Ash got fully dropped. Stories started coming out about how they were unhappy with them being involved in this match. There was rumors that Naomi was going to win by pinning Sasha or something, which was kind of made no sense. There was also word that you know, even in the WWE statement that they said those two workers they didn't want to work with, which I also don't think is true. WWE released a statement about it after the show, which is like, it's really rare that they do that in recent years. Like, I know they've done it in the past, like in the early 2000s and stuff. And then they even took to commentary with Corey Graves saying stuff like they unprofessionally left the building. And then on Friday, and we waited all week to like see what was going on and for updates, and everybody was speculating. Those fans on Twitter and social media being like, I stand with Sasha and Naomi. So the story is they weren't happy with the decision. They went to the office, they talked about it, they thought that they came to an agreement. They left, things were still kind of the same. They went back into the office, they put their tag titles on the head of talent relations desk, and that would be John Laurinaitis, and they went home. They left the building. Sasha Banks and Naomi, the Boss and Glow. Come Friday, we had Michael Cole on commentary telling us how Sasha Banks and Naomi disappointed them and disappointed all the millions of fans around the world. I just want to say I wasn't disappointed. And by Pat McAfee's face and his facial expressions, it seems like he was kind of not disappointed as well. But no flack thrown to Michael Cole or Corey Graves, because I do believe they are told what to say and they're doing their job, and that just might be their personalities to do their job as best as possible and you know, play their role. But this isn't uncommon. When the Austin walked out in 2002, they had Rock go out there and cut a promo about how Austin took his ball and went home, and they referenced it on commentary throughout the night. Then they went on that confidential show and totally buried Austin's decisions on walking out and talked about how unprofessional it is. When Savage left in 1994, the following Raw, Vince McMahon addressed it on the air, thanking Savage for his time there, and sad to see him go. And it's very rare that when these situations happen, they get addressed, but they do get addressed. This isn't the first time WWE's done that. It's not the first time WWE's called people out live on the show for walking out.
I mean, when CM Punk walked out most recently, like, you know, it was like 8 years ago, 9 years, almost a decade ago. But when he did walk out, dude, they had Paul Heyman come out to Cult of Personality in his hometown
and said, "This is the last time you're ever gonna hear this music."
Use that, and also like he would be bashed in promos when like the Authority was like an on-air screen personality they would use.
Even when it goes, let's go back to Austin for a second. Like, you know, Austin always says he regrets walking out. It was his mistake. You know, he didn't want to put over Brock. He was in a different place, and he even said about the Rock thing. He's like, I don't think like that came from the Rock's brain or the Rock's own personal feelings. He was probably told to go out there and do that, and that's the same feeling people should have towards Cole and Graves, because they're told to do that. If you love The Rock, but you're dissing Cole and Graves, then you got to hate The Rock too, because they did the same thing with Austin to The Rock. I understand there's a race card here, and a lot of people are more frustrated because these are two black women that walked out, and there could be something to that. I'm not saying there isn't. There could be something to that. I'm just saying, just initially my first reaction is like, that's not them saying it. That's Vince, that's the office. It's a pettiness coming from the WWE. I don't think it's cool. I think it was unnecessary. I think they didn't have to do that. I'm on that side. I actually stand with Sasha and Naomi. Whether down the road Sasha and Naomi look back at this and say they regret doing it, or they do feel like it was unprofessional, that's cool. I always stand with somebody. If you're not happy, if you're genuinely not happy, then go. And I'm sure the people in the WWE will be like, if you're not happy, then go too, because you want to keep a happy environment backstage. You don't want that unhappiness and negative energy to spread throughout the locker room and stuff. I'm sure the office was. I'm pretty sure Triple H said that about CM Punk on Austin's podcast on the network, where he was like, if you're gonna be here and being happy, we don't want you here anyways, because like we want you to be happy to be here. This and that. And if Sasha and Naomi weren't happy, like let them go. The whole calling them out and all that stuff, not cool. But I feel like I think it's fine. I think it shouldn't have been like put out there as much as it's been put out there throughout WWE television and all that. I don't know if they felt like they owed it to their fans or something that paid tickets to come see Sasha and Naomi and they didn't show up. I get all of that, but I just feel like there's a level of pettiness too, and it could have been dealt with a lot more professionally and properly. I think the statement was more than enough. They didn't have to say more on commentary. I understand addressing the fact that there's going to be a tournament for the women's tag titles now in the strip. I guess you had to do that, but the whole part about, them disappointing the fans, like that part was unnecessary.
Yeah, it's
you could have said the strip from the tag titles. We're gonna have a tournament, and that's crazy. That the fact that Sasha was so mad is because she wanted to make the tag titles important. Like, look at it like this. Initially, we all thought, right, going into WrestleMania, it was gonna be Sasha versus Charlotte, and Sasha had the spawn. They teased it like 4 times on SmackDown. Even when Charlotte first got swapped to SmackDown, one of the first things they did was have Sasha Charlotte face to face, and then Ronda signed back on, and Sasha got pushed out of that spot, and it was Ronda versus Charlotte. And then Sasha was given, to make up for that, was like, hey, we'll give you the tag titles and we're going to let you run with this. And whatever you want to do with these tag titles, you were one of the main reasons we made tag titles. You and Bayley begged for these belts. We'll give you the titles with Naomi and we're going to make this division mean something. They probably sold her on that dream. And at WrestleMania, she won the tag belt. She's like, okay, we're going to do this. And then you're not even really doing anything with it. You break up tag teams. It's not really those main tag teams. It's like Shayna and Natty, Nikki Ash and Doudrop, I think now, and Sasha and I don't even know how they're going to do a tournament. There's no tag teams. But you sell her on this dream, and then you start putting her in matches that have nothing to do with the tag titles. And you have pay-per-views coming up, and there's no tag title feuds. There's no stories. I can understand that frustration in 2 parts. Like, 1, you gave me false promises. And 2, selfishly, and I believe it's true, I'm not, and this might sound negative, but I do think Sasha feels like she's a big star, and she's might feel right now that she's bigger than the WWE, and she's a made woman, and that's, someone's took her spot. And Jim Ross always says the 2 things that frustrate people the most are cash and creative. I think she's getting paid. I think she's okay with that, but that creative part is really stifling to her. And the people that care about the creative the most are the people that grew up a fan of this business and actually care about this business and are passionate about their craft. And I know for some wrestlers backstage and some people, they might be like, that's being a mark for yourself. But it's also just being passionate about your craft. There's people like Brock Lesnar that don't give a fuck, but do give a fuck in terms of their money and sometimes they're creative. And then there's people like Sasha that really gives a fuck about her creative and really gives a fuck about who Sasha Banks is and has a really hard time separating Sasha Banks and Mercedes when she's in that role. So sometimes Sasha Banks is the one making these decisions, and then she has to leave and go figure out who Mercedes is again before she comes back, because that's what she had to do in 2019.
Yeah. No, I think, like, obviously, like, it's a lot to take in, but I think that, like, I just want to say that, like, I don't think we should really full on, like, judge all these people without knowing what, with
all sides of the story.
Exactly. Like, we don't really know the whole story to it. We only know everything. I don't know why I started. I don't know why we think sometimes we know everything because we read the internet. We really don't. And it's one of those things where, you kind of, obviously, I don't know what happened. I don't know, who's there, who's not. But it's also like, if I'm going to give my thoughts on it, I think, I don't know if they're going to come back. And if they don't, then that's okay, as long as, they do what makes them happy, of course, because that's their decision as performers, as people. And also that I don't like how Ronda came back and kind of took Sasha's spot.
We don't know if that's exactly what happened, but that's what it appears to.
That's what it appears, right? And it just makes me think that, like, you can make the argument and be like, Ronda's a draw. Yeah, she was at one point. But, the whole selling point to Ronda versus Charlotte didn't really hit the same. It really wasn't anything special to me as a fan, as a viewer. But I don't know.
I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I know what Ronda Rousey did for a lot of different
She
industries
did
across the board in terms
business.
of women
She made
empowerment and
money.
feminism and
Trust
stuff like
me.
that.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you in terms of like Ronda this time around does not feel as special as
And
Ronda.
I've talked to this about with TJ. I interviewed him WrestleMania weekend. I was like, what do you think about Ronda coming back this year? He's like, I think it's great. We get to see a part 2 of Ronda's career and all that, but it's gonna be a little different from part 1 of Ronda's career, of course, because Ronda when Ronda first came in, it was like, oh my god, Ronda Rousey.
It's Ronda Rousey, yeah.
It's Ronda freaking Rousey. Like this chick was, a badass in the UFC. I think her last fight was against Holly Holm, if I'm not too sure, but the UFC marks will come get me after that one, but I don't know. But yeah, the whole
it happens because even with Brock, there's been periods of Brock too where it's kind of like Brock can hit the same at some point that he did at the initially. Like it just happens, and it's the same with Ronda right now. The second round, like it's just like Ronda wasn't even on SmackDown, and I wasn't like even concerned about it.
No, 100%, and it's weird because there's this sense of being a hypocrite because it's like, well, you're gonna get mad at Sasha and Naomi for walking out, but what about when Tony Storm walked out? What about when Brock threw the belt at Vince?
But Jeff dipped in the middle of a show, in the middle of a
match. I think he got a little backlash for that. I did see something.
He did, but I mean the way that they're going after Sasha and Naomi with the commentary, taking the WWE shop stores down, taking them out of the graphics. Sasha was replaced with Cody Rhodes in the intro, the WWE intro, and then now forever. Sasha's replaced on the level up thing. It's almost like they're like, well, they're trying to show to her like, we made you, we can erase you, like you're not bigger than the WWE. I don't know what Naomi's repercussions are gonna be, how it's gonna affect Naomi. Like, the bloodline's still there, her husband's still there, she's part of that family. I don't, but like what they're doing is like Sasha seems a lot more evident. It seems a lot more like, because it almost seems like Sasha made the decision, Naomi being the loyal friend she has, stood by Sasha's side and like, no, I got you, girl. Like, I got you, my sister. Like, you're my sister, right? But like, and it's hard for me to say because I'm. You guys all know this. You've listened to the show. If you listen to the show since the beginning, you definitely know. Devin used to joke about the Sasha Banks Appreciation Hour. I'm a Sasha Banks fan. I love Sasha Banks. I will always be a Sasha Banks fan. She's my favorite women's wrestler, point blank, of all time. I see her as a star. I understand why. I'm the one that will sit and tell you she's broken out of the bubble. She can go to Hollywood. I think she's a bigger star than just WWE. Like, she's not just a wrestler. Like, she's Sasha Banks. Like, I sell people on that. But it might have got into her head. And I will admit.
No, for sure. I think you've been one of the people that actually got me into like Sasha Banks, as this professional wrestling and everything. Because I wasn't the biggest fans of women's wrestling. I think I respected everything they did and what they accomplished and everything. But I was never like, oh, like, I never had a taste for women's wrestling. Like, I don't know where to begin. I always found that it was really interesting and they could do what the men were doing and main eventing and all that. But you were the one who actually were like, no, watch this Sasha match, watch this. And slowly I grew this appreciation. And then during WrestleMania weekend, I had the opportunity to meet her and I was trying to get you that shout out. But, that damn security, man, like, it still pisses me off. But it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know if Sasha's gonna be back, but I feel like Naomi will be back. It just gives me.
I think Sasha will come back. I think it will be a thing where it's like they'll come to him, and but I just think the way they're acting is like they're trying to show her, like, listen, see if you can make it. And then the crazy thing is that now we see like Sasha out, she's at a Stevie Aoki concert with her cousin. She's like dancing on stage with Stevie Aoki. Like, she's enjoying herself. That was just on Friday. While they're saying the stuff on SmackDown, Sasha's out there. And I think a lot of people are confused because between you and I, a wrestler hit me up and was like, when was that video? And I was like, I think it was on Friday. And they're like, oh. And I was like, oh, should I take it down? I was like, I'm not trying to like get anyone in trouble. And this wrestler was like, no, it's cool. Like, it's fine. And I was like, I just want people to see like she's doing fine because like, her fans are a little... they're hard, you know what I mean? Like, Sasha fans are like, they're wild, and that wrestler was like, no, it's good that fans see that she's happy. But it was almost like they were back there, and that wrestler saw that video on my page, and she might have been with other wrestlers, and they're like, yo, like, Sasha's like, she's chilling, like, she's not even phased. Maybe she's not answering texts or calls right now. I don't know, but like, there's something suspicious going on. I talked to somebody else that said two wrestlers were kind of just gave cryptic answers to him, and then one of them said she's being a mark for herself again, which I said, which I think is a very common thing that other wrestlers might think, that she's being a mark for herself. But I strongly believe, and this is just a belief I think everyone should believe in. And like, if you don't believe in your own hype, if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else? So you should be a fucking mark for yourself. Everyone should be a fucking mark for themselves. That's not a fucking insult saying that someone's a mark for you. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? Oh, because it's a scripted show, it's a business. Like, stop being like such a fan for yourself. Like, no, you should be your biggest fan. Or you should just be there to make money. But if you're just there to make money and do whatever, then that's you, man. You do you. But some people are really passionate about their craft and really passionate about being the greatest. And they're going to try to be the greatest. Michael Jordan, guess what, was a mark for himself. Mike Tyson, guess what, was a mark for himself. Some of the biggest superstars in the world were marks for themselves. Now, talking about marks, let's talk about AEW.
Yeah, what a transition. I like that. Yeah, no,
I made a post yesterday that when I shared that clip where McMahon said that we make movies, and he did that little thing with his eyebrow and drinks the water, and I always think it's a funny clip. And I'm like, when people ask me why my expectations for WWE is so different, I always think of this clip. And I was like, because I expect storylines and characters that evolve weekly, properly, yada yada. And a lot of people called me on that part, like, oh, involved properly. And I'm like, listen, I didn't say they do a good job at it, or they're doing a good job at it right now. I'm just saying that's what I expect from them. I don't watch WWE and like, I want 5-star matches. I want I have given up looking for wrestling in WWE. Do they give us good matches every now and then? Hell yeah. Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins at WrestleMania and at Backlash. Becky and Bianca, they give us good matches. Do not get that wrong. But that's not what I expect from WWE on a Monday and a Friday or even Wednesday anymore. I just expect to be entertained. I expect to see character development and storylines progress. That's my expectation of them. That's all I was trying to say. I ended that caption with, from everybody else, I expect wrestling. I still don't know what to expect by AEW. And then that triggered a lot of people. There was even a guy that started saying, like, I'm a fucking ass kisser. I'm a barbaro, like Andrade said all this shit because I was talking shit about AEW, because AEW fans are so fucking like, dude, you don't like you're fucking stupid and shit. I do not like AEW. I like it. We talk about AEW every week on this show because I love AEW. I'm a fan of AEW. I want to see AEW prosper, okay? My reason I said I still don't know what I expect from AEW is because I still don't think AEW knows what they're trying to give us. Sometimes they say they're trying to give us a wrestling show, and then sometimes they try to do sports entertainment stuff. Hell, they even have a whole storyline right now where a group of people are calling themselves sports entertainers. They don't know what they are trying to give us. That's why I say I don't know what I expect from them yet. Because sometimes I sit here and I say I want them to give me more promos and more storylines and more character development. But then I know there's another group of fans on the other side that are happy and content with just getting a bunch of dream matches and solid cards.
Yeah, I don't know, man. AEW fans be out here talking me out.
But no, but then there's like, but there's still like there's another side of the fence of wrestling fans that are really happy with just getting a bunch of dream matches and good matches from AEW and being like, it's the best show ever. So that's why I don't know what my expectations is. Is it just supposed to be that wrestling show where we get a bunch of dream matches and cool matches and we're supposed to be okay with it? Or are my expectations wrong for wanting more character development and storylines involved on their shows because I feel like it's a weekly episodic show? And that's the thing about all these other companies. New Japan, MLW, kind of NWA, kind of like still like lower impact. Like those shows don't have that audience that like they're trying to reach on a major network because they are the wrestling shows, and that's fine if they're wrestling shows. And some of them are weekly, but it's fine if they're wrestling shows. But AEW is trying to be on a large network, trying to get more fans and try to be the alternative to WWE, but I feel like they're still trying to be a wrestling show mixed with a sports entertainment show, and that's where I'm confused with it. That being said, this card to Double or Nothing, a whole lot of it just seems thrown together to me. Is that just me?
Nah, I agree. I feel like this has been the most least anticipated card of AEW. It's just, I don't know, man.
Least anticipated because there's fans out there that are anticipating. There's fans on Twitter like, this might be the greatest card they put together yet. And I look at the card, and like I just mentioned, there's a lot of matches on this card that I'm like, these matches have the potential to be bangers and great. But then there's only like there's only like 2 matches on the card that really seem like they come in with like long-term storytelling and characters.
What's
and
that?
that's MJF versus Wardlow.
Okay.
And it's a House of Black versus the Death Triangle because that's been going on for like 5-6 months. Everything else just seems to have been like thrown in there. So we're gonna look at this card, okay, and then we're gonna make a prediction, okay?
Do it.
We have for the and obviously, guys, this is Sunday, May 22nd. The show's on May 29th. We have one more Dynamite and Rampage to go through, so there might be matches that are added last minute that won't be in a part of our predictions, and I apologize for that. But these are the matches that we have as of right now. There's 8 matches on the card that I know of right now. We're making predictions for these 8 matches, okay? There's no TNT title match, so that could be something that gets added to the card. I don't know. For the AEW tag team titles, last pay-per-view we had Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus Red Dragon and the Young Bucks in a triple threat tag match, right? Banger match. Kind of had some story going into it because there was a tension between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, and then obviously Jurassic Express are the tag champions, okay? It's another thing I want to point out. It's a fucking travesty with everything that FTR has been doing in the past month and how over they've been getting with the fans and the matches they've had against each other and the matches Dax has had with other people that they're not on this card.
They're not on the card?
But don't get me wrong. If they get a Ring of Honor tag title match on the card, say this week, I wouldn't be surprised. But as of right now, a fucking travesty. That being said, Keith Lee and Swerve versus Jurassic Express versus Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. There's been some sort of tension with Team Taz and Keith Lee and Swerve. A little bit of a story there. Still, this match kind of seems thrown together in the last week with 1 week of like storytelling adding Jurassic Express. I don't know. I'm over Jurassic Express being the tag champions. Yeah. I'm over it. Like, I'm glad they had the run. I'm glad they won the tag titles. I would personally, and it sounds almost insane, you'd think I'd say put on Keith Lee and Swerve, but I almost think you should let Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs win the tag belts at this point. Yeah. If you're not going to give them to FTR where they should rightfully fucking go, or even to like Red Dragon, I don't even know, actually.
I agree. I mean,
I don't know, and I also don't care, to be honest.
Great.
But I'm going to go with Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks. No disrespect to Swerve is my boy, and Keith Lee's the man. I like them as a team, but I still view them as 2 single stars. At least Team Taz has been a thing for a while.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think I'm going to go with Hobbs and Ricky Starks.
For the TBS Women's Championship, this was like literally just given to us on Friday out of nowhere.
Well, I don't even know.
There's been some like run-ins and saves and stuff, so that's kind of what the build is. They've wrestled each other before. They've had a solid match. They made it believable. Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. Anna Jay got this match because every once in a while we remember there's a wins-loss record thing, and she has 14 straight wins or something, mostly in tag matches. But Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. Well, obviously, low-key bias. I would love for Anna Jay to win the TBS title. I thought the secondary title was made for women like Anna Jay and Tay Conti and Penelope Ford to get an opportunity to belt to kind of build themselves. You know, because it goes 2 ways. Right? Either the belt makes you or you make the belt, or they work hand in hand. And I think for wrestlers like Anna Jay, her being a champion will help her, but also she can help the championship as being like a fighting champion. There's a story there. But Jade Cargill's Jade Cargill, and she can't lose the belt yet.
Not yet, no.
She can't. You know what I mean? Technically, Jade Cargill should probably be the AEW Women's Champion at this point. But as much as I would love to see Anna Jay win, it's Jade. It'll be a good match, though, but it's Jade.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, I got Jade Cargill as well.
There'll probably be some run-ins. The baddies will probably be around. Chris Statlander and whoever. Anna's Ruby Soho or someone will probably be around. But, like...
Yeah, we'll definitely...
It's Jade, right? The House of Black versus the Death Triangle. This is a match they probably wanted to do at the last pay-per-view, but they didn't because I think Ray Phoenix was out. So they kind of did it, but they had Eric Redbeard team with Pac and Pentagon instead, and it was on the kickoff. Now it's officially happening at Double or Nothing. We'll probably need a conclusion to this feud that's been going on for, like, I feel like 6 months, which is not a bad thing, but it just hasn't been the most... I don't want to say it hasn't been the most interesting because there's interest in it. It's just I feel like the company as a whole hasn't focused on it enough to make it seem like they care about this feud. They're just letting they're letting Malachi do what Malachi wants to do, and they give him time when allocated. That's what it feels like to me. I think prediction-wise, the House of Black needs to win this.
Yeah, I feel like they need to win, man. And I agree. I haven't really been following, but yeah, man. Hope that team wins. Hooray!
I think the Death Triangles run. I think the Death Triangles run its course too. Like I don't even think of them as a team as much as I used to anymore.
Yeah, I feel like they've been doing their own thing. Because I don't know, man. It just hasn't been hitting the same, or my expectations have been too high of, House of Black. Like it's just I don't know.
House of Black needs to do something. They need to move forward. They got Judgment Day competing against them now on the other show.
Like I don't know who the hell Judgment Day is. Oh, Edge guys and all that. Yeah. But
yeah, no.
I totally watched.
Of course, we got the Jericho Appreciation Society, which is Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, and the members of 2.0 against Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz, and 2 members of the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson and John Moxley. Happy birthday, Bryan Danielson.
Legend.
It's not a Stadium Stampede match. It's just like a anything goes match.
I think by next week we'll have
like fight all over the place. It's gonna be fun. It probably will be like a Stadium Stampede match. It was like not in a stadium. Like I feel like they're gonna separate and I'll go backstage and it's gonna be like fun stuff. Like this is our sports entertainment match from our wrestling company.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this match. I feel like it's gonna be good.
It'll be good, but it's just.
I get what you mean.
Listen, the promo this last Wednesday that they did against each other was fun. Like Jericho was trying to roast everybody, and then they roasted back. Like it's been good. It's gonna be good. I don't know. It's almost like the last pay per view where we had Sammy, Sting, and Darby against like Andrade, Matt Hardy, and one of the members of Private Party. Like I forgot about it, and then it happened, and it was really good. Mm-hmm. It's like that. Like I said, I don't think anything on the show is not going to be like when you look at the card. Yes, it does look like a stacked card. I just feel like I don't know.
Listen, man, I think it's one of those things where going into it, you're not like, oh, I can't. I'm not really looking forward to it. But like coming out of this match, I feel like it's gonna be great.
Coming out of the show, it's gonna be great.
Also, sorry to cut you off, but I think it was last week where people thought Bryan got hurt or something. I don't know if he actually did, but apparently like. AEW posted about it on the YouTube channel and everything, and he's good. So I'm glad to hear that. Honestly,
yeah, glad to hear that as well. It'll be a good match. There's a lot of butting heads on the babyface side, like Eddie Kingston and Bryan, and it was cool. Like I said, I thought it was cool that Mox come support Eddie, and they didn't forget about their friendship. So there is a little bit of a story there.
Bro, that happened 2 weeks ago, man. You've been saying that.
And then there's still like story between like Mox and Bryan did have a run-in with each other before their match. Like there's intertwining stories for sure, but it's just, and obviously like Santana and Ortiz used to be part of the inner circle. Like there's stories layered into this. It just also does seem very thrown together in the last 2 weeks.
No, for sure. I don't know.
The Hardys with the Young Bucks, dream match, right? For people that never watched their matches in Ring of Honor and other independent shows, like this is a dream match. First time in AEW. There hasn't been much of a build on TV. There's been a lot of build on being the elite, to be honest. The Hardys yelling at the Young Bucks about losing themselves, and the Young Bucks fighting back, being like, "We're basically you guys, but better." Yada yada yada. So like for people being like there isn't a build, like I guess you just got to watch Being the Elite. There's been a little bit of build on television, I guess. It'll be good. Like everything, like it'll be good. It'll be a good match. It'll be a banger. It'll be memorable. The Hardys aren't even the same Hardys they were though in 2017 when they last fought the Young Bucks. Because the last match I remember watching was the Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys in a ladder match right before they made their return to WWE at WrestleMania 33. It was like they wrestled at Ring of Honor the night before, and then they wrestled that like on Friday or Saturday, and then they came to WrestleMania on Sunday. Like that's literally what happened. And even then, the Hardys were younger, faster, healthier, and just
definitely healthier. Definitely healthier. Like I don't know, man.
Everything I've seen of the Hardy Boys in AEW so far, like it's nothing that is their fault. Father Time is catching up to them, and their injuries are catching up to them, and it's evident.
No.
And that's the only thing that makes me stressed out about this match.
No, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be great. But I just honestly, man, like I think I asked you. I was like, so this match just got thrown together. Like I haven't seen
Then
anything.
that's the thing.
And
You
you're like,
think it
no.
would have been?
And then you're like, no, it's on Rampage. I was like, Rampage. Why wouldn't you want to advertise this match on AEW Dynamite?
I mean, they're going to this week.
This week,
one week
before the actual card. Bro.
Shouldn't they have like?
What's
Shouldn't they
going
have like,
on
from
there?
the moment Jeff showed up? Shouldn't this have what they've been? This shows what they should have been focusing on from the moment Jeff showed up. I get they felt like they had to get Matt out of his little group and deal with the whole Andrade situation. Hell, they teased the idea of it being the Hardy Boys versus Darby and Sting way more than they ever teased it being the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks.
I think it's because we've seen the Bucks and Hardys. So.
No, but I mean, like they should have done this from the moment Jeff came in. Like the seeds should start to get planted from the moment they just. Maybe it was, and I was blind to, but I think the Young Bucks win. I think they shake hands after. I think it's like a passing of the torch match.
Nah, I want heel Hardys, man. I want something different. AEW, give me something different, please. Tony Khan, come on
for the AEW Women's
Chico.
Championship. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. Once again, guys, make sure you guys check out my interview with Thunder Rosa. It's up on YouTube. She cut a promo on Serena Deeb. We talked about this match. We talked about her life. She's had a wild life. She came from nothing. She talks about how she was almost like lost in birth. Like she almost died when she was being born. Like moving from Mexico, learning English. Like crazy story. Made me admire Thunder Rosa even more. Great quick conversation. It's only like 38 minutes. It's not that long. Not even as long as this show. Go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel or wherever you listen to the TWC show. Maybe I'll let Ruckus share it in a week or so. But Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. I think this is a match we're going to go into it. Like, listen, they're both not the best promo. They're both not the best talkers. We know this. But they're two really good wrestlers. And I think hopefully, right? Like, we've had our expectations high in the past for matches that between two really good wrestlers that we thought were like, yo, AJ Styles and Shinsuke, like this is gonna slap like Wrestle Kingdom. Then the rest of the WrestleMania, it didn't slap that way. That happens sometimes, but 100%. I'm hoping this slaps and we leave this match being like, yo, these two women just gave us one of the best technical wrestling matches we've had in AEW because there's a lot of memorable lights out matches and like cage matches with the women, but has it been like a really memorable technical wrestling match in AEW for the women yet? Has there been a Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT Brooklyn for the women in AEW?
You put it like that, then no, obviously not. Like not yet. You know,
has it been a Charlotte versus Asuka? Has it been a Charlotte versus, you know what I mean? Like, has any of the like, have we had a match that didn't have a crazy stipulation for the women be like that match where you're like, yo, that's a women's AEW match you need to watch that isn't like lights out, blood, cage, yada yada yada. There hasn't, right? No, I don't remember a single Britt Baker match that like don't get me wrong, they've all been good, but I mean like that match where you're like, that's the one you need to watch. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That wasn't lights out or cage or some crazy stipulation.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be good, man.
I think this might be that match. I think this might be your listen, I'm not saying I'm not comparing these two women to these two people, but I'm saying this could be on a male perspective, like I said, Sasha Bayley on a woman's perspective, or Charlotte versus Asuka, like it could be that Becky versus Bianca, or could this be like the Shawn Michaels Kurt Angle? Could this be the Bret Owen? Could this be that technical wrestling match at Eddie Rey Mysterio that you just really enjoy as a wrestling match? That's what I'm saying, and I think that's what we'll get. I think Thunder Rosa retains. She just won the title. She's barely been on TV since winning the title. But I think she retains. But I don't think this feud is over. I think the Serena Deeb thing carries forward. I think these two women, I'm going to call it right now, will probably be the first two women, whether it's on a Dynamite or Rampage or the next pay-per-view, that will have their first ever like Iron Women's match in AEW.
I can see that. That's a good one. That's a good one. I feel like I can see that. So let's just say Thunder Rosa retains. I can see that, Serena Deeb being like one more time, it's running back Iron Man match. Or Iron Woman match. Yeah,
I can definitely say, or like a submission match or something with like technical. MJF versus Wardlow. This has to be Wardlow's breakup moment. Honestly, it's so crazy to think about it, but we've seen MJF lose like 2 times in his career, 3 times. It's CM Punk, Moxley,
Darby Allin, I think.
No, he beat Darby with remember he beat Darby with a headlock takeover.
I feel like Darby beat him once. Am I tripping?
No, I think the only people that have ever really we should check that out. But I think it's just CM Punk and Jon Moxley.
Really, I don't know, man. I feel like
And you also this year's a little different, but you also got to realize like MJF doesn't wrestle a lot. MJF's like when I complain about characters and storylines, like MJF's the only one that has like properly always. No, that's a lie. Jericho's been really good. That's just Jericho does Jericho. Jericho does Jericho, and Jericho does Jericho. Because even Brian, like this, sometimes he's just been wrestling people. And Punk does weeks where he's just wrestling people on commentary. Jericho and MJF are the only ones that like always properly have character development and storyline on this show, and MJF's promos, the whipping, like he's always doing stuff. Oh, he lost to Jericho. So Jericho, Moxley, and Punk. Look at the names he's lost to: Jericho, Moxley, and Punk. That's three wild names to lose to.
That's good though. Top names to lose to. I don't know.
I gotta go with Wardlow here. This is Wardlow's breakout moment.
I gotta go with the Wardlow as well. I don't think MJF losing hurts him.
It doesn't hurt him at all, and I think this was the long-term goal the entire time was to get Wardlow over. At this point, and I think that's what we're gonna go with. There's more matches here. Never mind. I have Women's Owen Cup tournament final. The finals for the tournament. So we don't know yet. It's either gonna be Kyle O'Reilly or Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. So either Kyle O'Reilly or Samoa Joe, because that match is happening on Wednesday. Who do you think's gonna win the tournament?
O'Reilly. But you, Samoa Joe, I don't know.
I think so I want Kyle O'Reilly to win. I think Adam Cole might win, but I want Kyle O'Reilly to win. For the women, it's either Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, or Chris Statlander. And I feel it really like I don't think Ruby or Chris is gonna win, to be honest. It depends who wins between Toni and Britt. And it's either Britt or Toni that's gonna win the tournament.
Tony's gonna win the entire thing. Heard it here first.
So Kyle and Toni are my picks. Or Kyle, it's either Kyle, Adam, or Toni and Britt. I don't know, guys.
I got Toni.
If it's Britt and Adam, that's fucking wild. There's a 6-person tag match on the pre-show: Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Zandt versus Sammy, Frankie, and Tay Conte. I'm gonna go with Scorpio, Ethan, and Paige. This whole thing's weird to me because those are the baby faces somehow. Because Sammy and Tay are the heels now. It's weird. You?
Yeah, I got them as well, bro.
Hook Hassan versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. I don't know what they're doing with Hook. Hook should be in a singles match against Tony Nese or something, but I'm gonna have to go with Hook Hassan because that seems to be Tony Khan's favorite little act right now. So there was Orange Cassidy, and now it's Hook and Danhausen. So
what happened to Orange Cassidy, man? Isn't he injured?
No, he's just chilling. What are they doing with Hook? Hook went from being cool to fighting a man and his manager with a weirdo that puts curses on people. Last but not least, Hangman Page versus CM Punk. Does Punk win the belt, or do we hold off?
Hangman wins. It's not time yet, man. I don't know. I want Hangman to still be on top. I
went into CM Punk coming to AEW being like he never really needs to win that AEW title. He does not. It's not necessary. I'm so bored with Hangman. I want CM Punk to win. That's it. That's the only thing. It's not even that. Like Hangman probably is gonna win and probably should win, but I'm probably wrong about this prediction. If I bet money on this, I'll probably lose it. But I'm gonna go with CM Punk because I'm bored.
I mean,
and I need CM Punk to heel. I want CM Punk to cheat.
I want Punk to win too, and if he does win, like I'm gonna get hyped, obviously. But
I want Punk to kick him in the nuts. I want Punk to cheat. I want Punk to cheat Hangman out of his belt and then laugh about it.
Oh man, that's hard, man. You're putting me. I gotta go with Hangman. I mean, they can do like a rematch or something on like the next pay-per-view, and then Punk can win it then. But
we'll see. Okay, guys. Anyways, that's our AEW Double or Nothing predictions, guys. Follow us on social media. Check out my articles at 1:37 p.m. Check out the Dropkick podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, man. This is a action-packed full show. We had a lot to talk about, but keep doing the thing. And we'll see you all later. check us out at Ruckus Avenue Radio. Ooh, yeah, dig it. Uh-huh.
Sweet.